right, I think we're live. I'm really excited today to introduce somebody who I've known for a long time, respected beyond belief for the business that he's built and continues to grow, just outpacing the industry. So I'd like to welcome Shawn Torres, CEO of In-Telecom, to join us today for a discussion and to just talk about his journey through entrepreneurship, what led him to start a business, what challenges he's faced along the way that he's overcome, and what In-Telecom does for their customers that really has enabled that kind of supersonic growth. So Shawn, thanks for agreeing to have a chat with me today.
Anytime, Steve. I appreciate you having me, man. I've always been a big fan of yours. So,
Well,
been around you for a long time, man. So,
thank you. Thank you. All
big
right.
fan.
So the check's in the mail on that one.
Yes.
Let's start. Share a little bit about your background, your inspiration, what kind of got you started and inspired you to go down the entrepreneur path.
Well, man, in 2009, life was good. I had graduated college in '07. I was just got married. I just opened up actually my first business. I opened up at Anytime Fitness and
Oh, okay.
spent all my money. I was working for Verizon Wireless at the time, doing B2B sales.
Hmm.
And everything was great, man. And I ended up getting let go as part of an acquisition deal that went on when they bought Alltel
Okay.
and double headcount and just kind of got put to the side. Look, no harm on Verizon. I learned a ton within that organization, so they were great for me. I told my wife at that time that I wasn't going to go back to work and that I wanted to start my own deal. And she looked at me like I was absolutely crazy for wanting to start my own company, especially the fact that I really didn't have an idea what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
I just knew that I knew the telco space in a sense, right? So we went out and I convinced my college roommate who was working for Nuvox at the time, selling T1s and PRIs, and convinced him to come on this journey with me. And we were going to start the consulting company and go around and save people money on their cell phones and landline bills. And that's kind of what did it for me, man. I think what it was, Steve, as I look back to it today, I hated the fact that I was such a good sales rep
Hmm.
and like doing everything that I could do to do right. I was a company man, man. If they wouldn't have let me go, I'd have still been there today. I was bought in. I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I was making money. I was kicking ass and selling a lot of deals, and it just blew up on me. So I think
Yeah.
that is really what got me into wanting to do this. Now, look, I had jumped into the entrepreneur, I guess, place hanging around college buddies one night, drinking, talking about we're going to open up a gym, and we just did it. And
Hmm.
having no thoughts of what it meant to operate a business. I think I was just naive, man. I'd been around it with some fraternity brothers that I looked up to their families and what they had, and my family was, blue collar worker. My dad's is a great mentor for me and built me who I am today. But he never owned his own business, right? And
Hmm.
I didn't really have family that was in it. I think I was influenced by it from in my fraternity and seeing some of the things. I thought it was really cool. Or like I was watching my fraternity brothers that were like, "Yeah, I'm graduating and I'm going to go run my dad's company and I'm going to go work there always." And I kind of became obsessed with like business owners and asking them 1,000 questions and kind of honestly at the time, I think it was more around I saw the nice things they had, man. Like,
Hmm.
I'm a straight shooter. I wanted a Rolex and I wanted a cool car and I wanted a nice house and I saw the vacations and I saw all that. And I think anybody that tries to say that's not part of it, don't get me wrong. I have a
Sure.
passion for what I do today, but that's definitely what the mindset was. Now, did I think it was going to be this? No, not
Hmm.
a clue that it would be what it is today and even where it's heading. I'm still kind of some days, just getting out of our annual and watching the amount of revenue growth and like what we did last year. It doesn't always seem real, man. It feels kind of like a dream, I sit in the room, my leadership team, and they're incredible.
That's awesome. Yeah. So fun fact, I didn't know that about you, that you were at Verizon Wireless. I used
Yep.
to work at Bell Atlantic 9X Mobile,
Okay.
slinging cell phones
Yep.
up in
Yep.
Connecticut. So,
That's what
it's
we did,
another
man.
thing, we
And I
learn
loved
about
it,
each other,
man.
right?
I got really good at it.
Hmm.
I think I always had a thing for people. My wife
Hmm.
tells me that all the time. I just got back from Napa yesterday, and my wife was telling me, like, you just talk to everyone, and I just like people, man. I love to hear
Hmm.
people's story. I like to help people, and I think that's what got me really good at sales. It was never about the commission in a sense. Like when I first got into sales, it was about the commission, right?
Yeah,
When
yeah, yeah.
when my college neighbor told me that I could sell cell phones and make $5,000 a month, I was like, what? Like $5,000 a month, and I could just sit here and talk to people in a store. I'm in. Sign me up. And
Yeah.
I took a liking to the technology. And I used to love teaching people how to set up their Blackberries and Palm Pilots and setting up Bez servers. And I never was a technical guy, man. I think I
Hmm.
just, believe it or not, I love to play video games. And I just, thank you, Courtney. I appreciate that. I love to play video games when I was a kid, and I just like to figure it out. And I think that's what got me into doing what I do today. And I think I get to do that today at a different level with the people that work here. And it's just cool, man. It's cool to watch them grow. Like I said, I'm still kind of in shock after the annual and watching like what it's turned into. It's kind of like watching your children grow up.
Hmm.
I do have 3 daughters, and I'm watching them grow up today. And it's like I'm also getting to watch this thing grow and develop into something, and it's super special. It
Yeah, it's
really
a
is.
living thing,
It
and
is.
the most exciting part of a business is when it's in its teen years, so to speak, that it's growing and growing and making
Yes.
those kind of awkward changes. So, when you founded, in telecom, you talked about you and your partner said, let's just go find some customers, let's help them save some money on their cell phones and their landline business. How did that morph? So obviously that was what your vision was when it founded.
Yes.
How did it morph into what it is today?
So it's pretty awesome the story how it kind of flowed into what we are today is we had a client, NREC Power Systems. Mr. Brian Chasson is really the reason that this thing exists today. Wanted a phone system, and we were his telecom consultants, and he wanted us to go out and get pricing on a phone system.
Hmm.
And we went out and called these companies and got quotes, and we're just, I guess, being his consultant and doing our due diligence, and knew nothing about a phone system whatsoever. I could not tell you what tip ring meant. I didn't know. I didn't even know who these manufacturers were, and we're getting quotes from all these different manufacturers. And he had landed on what he wanted to buy. And I was at the gym one afternoon, and we were getting the quotes, and we were kind of putting everything on paper together for him and putting it all in an Excel spreadsheet and pricing. And Jimmy looked at me and said, "Hey man, what do you think if we sold him the phone system?" And I'll never forget it to this day. I was standing in the hallway or outside the office, and I started laughing. And I was like, "Jimmy, we don't know anything about phone systems. How are we going to sell it to him?" And he's like, "Oh man, I did some research online, and I found this company, ScanSource, and we can get certified on the Avaya IP office, and we can sell them a phone system." And I was like, "I mean, I'll ask him." So I got in my car and I drove down to Houma, Louisiana. And I remember walking in his office and looking at Mr. Bryan and saying, "Hey, Mr. Bryan, what do you think about buying this phone system for me and Jimmy?" I'm 26 years old. And he looked at me with just look. He's an old Marine, super aggressive guy. And he just leaned back in his chair and looking at me. And he's like, "Shawn, what the F do you know about phone systems?" And I was like, "Well, not much, but me and Jimmy found a place we can get certified and we could sell it." And he told me no. And I remember walking out that office, and Miss Donna, his office manager at the time, looked at me and asked me, she knew what I was doing. They were my client at Verizon too, and said,
Hmm.
what did he say?" And I said, "He said no." And she goes, "Come here." And she walked me back in that office and looked at him and said, "Hey, Mr. Everybody calls him Mr. B," and said, "Hey, Mr. B, March, remember that guy that gave you the first shot on that first engine you built?" And I remember Mr. Bryan like kind of looking up and looking at me. And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Why don't you give these little boys a shot?" I could just still hear that Homa accent because she's heavy in that Cajun accent. And he just kind of sat there for a minute looking at me, and he's like, "Don't F this up." and boy, did we mess it up, you know. But he gave us a shot.
That's awesome.
That's one thing that I can remember to this day was getting my car every day, and like we couldn't get the phone system to work. We didn't know how to get cross connects in. I drove to the certification program in the IP office, and I remember walking in this class, and it's all these guys like just getting certified on the system that had been putting phone systems in. And I'm like, I remember standing up in the room and saying, "Hey, my name's Shawn Torres. Me and my partner here own In-Telecom, and we don't know anything about phones, and we're super excited to learn." We thought they were going to teach us how to do cross connects. And I remember asking these guys questions in the room, like, "Hey, man, like, how do you get like the dial tone from the street into the building, into the phone system, over to the phone?" And I remember like all these guys looking at me and saying like, "Oh my God, like you guys will never, ever make it, you know." But man, we were determined. And, you know, in 2009, I did $8,400 in sales, total top line revenue. Terrible, scary times. In 2010, we did right at 64,000. So in 2 years, we didn't break 100 grand. But I remember to this day when we finished that IP office install, and we end up making about $6,400 off that install. And I remember like getting that check and like looking at it and saying like, all right, like we could do this. Like I could do this again and again and again and again. And if I just do this a bunch of times, like we're gonna make money. That's kind of what started it, man. That's what got us into. I landed on a product, and I became obsessive about the client experience and putting it in and making it a lot of fun, because we were not good techs. And my job was to distract all the employees while Jimmy figured out how to put it in.
That's awesome. I mean, that is like Sir Richard Branson has this famous quote that if you're offered an opportunity, you don't know how to do it, take it, because you
Yes.
figure it out. And those are where
Yes.
that's where the, you know, what do they say, that necessity is the mother of all, you know, innovation. And
Man, that's what
it's
built
just
this
getting in
company,
and doing it,
Steve.
right?
We built this company around the demand of the client and what they were looking to accomplish. And I would always take the challenge and crush it and figure it out, and then deliver a service that I wanted to be the best. And I always cared about the end result. It was never about the word profit. It was about the delivery of what we told the client we were going to do. And that's all we focused on, man. And just kept doing that over and over and over again. You know, we didn't have goals. I didn't have a business plan. I didn't have financial backing. I didn't have anywhere else. This was it. Like I didn't have a fail over plan. This was the plan. The plan was to execute and continue to do it. And once we started doing it and realized we were going to make an investment, I'll never forget. We made an investment in James Estopenhall, an incredible guy, and really helped, you know, get us moving in the right direction from a technical aspect, because we weren't techs, man. Me and Jimmy self-taught everything off YouTube videos. I don't have any certifications. You know, my background was in sales, and you know, I know they say fake it till you make it, I guess in a sense, and I guess in a sense we were faking it, but we still delivered, right? I wasn't selling snake oil where I wasn't going to get a phone system put in. Yes, scrappy mindset. Yes, grit, lots of grit, whole bunch of grit, and not quitting.
Well, and that I think leads to my next question, because as you're going through your journey, and you know, obviously to your point, where you started is not where you are right now, and you know,
No,
there's no way you could have even dreamed of where you guys are right
no.
now. What was, you know, what are every entrepreneur faces challenges along the way. Um, you know, what were some of the biggest hurdles that you encountered in building the business, and how did you overcome them to get to where you guys are today, which is just incredible?
I think some of the bigger challenges were creating structure around the business, understanding that how do you look at your revenue, how do you look at your people, job descriptions, um, hiring. You know, how do you hire? How do you fire? How do you build accountability? And I really attribute a lot of it to being very curious all the time. So I would just a lot of times would lean on my clients, and I wouldn't be afraid to call them. I remember Shannon asking me for years, like, you're not afraid to like tell your clients your problems? I'm like, well, they got a business. I bet they got problems too. Like
Hmm.
some of them I'm seeing, right? And I'm like, I'm just gonna ask, like, what should I do? And I never forget like being open to being able to be vulnerable, I think is critical as a business and as a leader in general is how do you get better if you're not willing to look at yourself in the mirror and understand that you need to improve and be better at your craft and what you're doing. And I just would ask people questions. I remember going to my banker, Corey Johnson. He's still my banker today. He took me in when I had $150 to my name. And we started this business, and I remain loyal to Corey because he was loyal to me. And I remember going to him like when we were sitting at about 5.5 to 6 million in revenue, and I remember going to him and like saying, "Hey man, like, can I show you like my P&L and like you look at all these businesses financials? Can you like tell me if I'm doing good?" Because I didn't know, Steve. Like I didn't know if we were doing good or not. I knew this,
Hmm.
man. I had one rule, and my dad taught me this at a very young age, and it's something I live by. And I think a lot of it attributes into where my life is you can't make any withdrawals if you don't make any deposits,
Yep.
right? And I realized that I needed to deposit more than I took out, and I
Hmm.
was cash in, cash out accounting, and I knew that if I made 1,000, that I had to deposit it, and I had to look at what I was going to take out, and I continuously invested in the business and in myself. I got into peer groups and hired coaches and just wanted to improve myself,
Hmm.
and I think that's what so many people don't do today. They feel that they got it. And it's like, do you have it? I don't know. I think we can always be better. I got into reading books. I never read a book, man. I had a lot of success. And, I think we had gotten the business to about 8 million, and I had never read a book. I had never thought about like any of these classes.
Hmm.
I literally put my head down every day and I gave it my all every day, no matter what, no matter if I was having a good day, bad day. I got up every day and did the same thing, and I was consistent. And I think that leads to success.
Yeah, I mean, and I think what you described is the difference between being a vendor and being a partner. Having that
Yeah.
vulnerability and talking to somebody about, hey, these are the problems I'm facing, and having the comfort to do that with a customer is really where you have a deeper relationship than just, hey, I'm somebody that you buy stuff from.
Well, and fixing
You
their
know,
problems, man, like you learn,
that
like,
it leads
oh
to that
crap,
part,
I had
right?
that same problem in my
Hmm.
business. Like, let's use the method we just did to fix their problem. And it wasn't about selling phone systems. It wasn't about selling cameras or IT contracts. It was about looking at their business and really figuring out how is this investment going to create an ROI on the return of what they're trying to accomplish, whether that be through contact center, through migrating to a cloud-based environment, a new security system that allows them to use advanced analytics for inventory management and scale, like all those things. And like that's the stuff that like I became obsessed with, and always wanting to fix my own stuff. I still do it today. Like I want to make it better. I want to fix it. Like how do you
Sure.
I do it at home, man. It drives my wife absolutely insane because I'm built like that. I just want to make it. I find myself even going to my friends' businesses today and like, how do I make this? How could you change and make this better? And always improving. And my barber tells me all the time, Shawn, shut up. I don't want to grow. I don't want to be bigger. And I'm like, man, you could do this and do that. And I think I think it's just built in your mind. Steve, but if I had to say my biggest challenge, man, I know it's a
Yeah.
long-winded answer. I
No,
will
no,
tell
no.
you,
Go ahead.
I think it's at the most recent stage that I'm in as a leader, and it's transforming Shawn the hustler like to Shawn the CEO. And
Hmm.
man, that's hard for me because I love to sell, and I just I love the chase and the win and looking at the outcomes that hit the client. And I still get to see that through the light of other people, right? But I think it's me looking and operating at a different level at the stage we are today. I probably should have done that earlier in. But I think it's the love and the passion of helping the client and watching the outcomes and what it does for them.
Yeah.
Um, and that's hard, man. I struggle with it even right now. Like just the I want to just pick up the phone and make a cold call. It's
It's a
super
different
hard.
job set, right? I mean,
Yes,
you got to
it's
find
super.
that evolution is tough for a lot of people.
Well, I think that's what holds a lot of people
You know,
back from growing
oh,
their business. They
100%.
can't let go of certain things. And,
Hmm.
I look at the people around me today and I'll be honest, Steve, they do it better than me, man. Like,
Yeah.
they're more calm, less emotional tied to it, way more strategic, from a process and development in a departmental than I was. I was just kind of in it, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. And I think that's what creates scale is allowing people to flourish in their
Hmm.
departments. And they're going to make lots of mistakes and you got to let them do it. I've made a lot of mistakes not allowing other people to fail.
Yeah.
If I think about things that held me back over the years, for sure.
So let's talk about where you've been. Now let's talk about where you are. In-Telecom has grown. Just the amount of growth that you guys have
It's
undergone
huge,
is
man.
incredible. And one of our one of the most challenging things I've had to do in my career was, have a very hard discussion with you and Jimmy when,
Yes.
my previous employer went a different direction. And, I like to believe that it was it was a very hard discussion, but we were both very transparent of where we were. And, that a lot of times those kind of discussions, I'll tell you, some of the ones I had, those folks never talked to me again.
Well, some
You
people
know,
hold
and
grudges,
and
man.
we've had this we've been able to have this kind of ongoing professional relationship, I think, because there's just this respect on both sides, right?
Absolutely.
You shared with me, I've shared, my respect with you guys and what you've built. Where are you guys today? I mean, I know, but share with everybody else. Where is In-Telecom today? You started from two guys talking about saving costs and selling a phone system to make, $6,000. Where
Yeah.
are you guys today? It's much
So
different than where
we're,
that
we're,
is.
we're we're broken up into three divisions. We have our managed services division, which does IT contracts. We have a cyber division. We have a full engineering staff, tier one, tier two escalations, proactive, reactive. We have our voice division that still manages and installs and services a full voice platform, as well as integrations into the cloud, as well as still some on-prem. We still have some on-prem out there.
Hmm.
And then we have our physical security division that's doing cameras and access control. So all three are scaling at a rapid rate. It's kind of interesting to watch.
Hmm.
I think it's interesting when you look at the market and where technology sits today. I think they all kind of intertwine at some point, and I think that's what's created some success for us. Is that like we're not your traditional security vendor that's like going to come out a camera on the wall and point it in direction and walk away. Like we can do some of the really cool integration stuff. And then a lot of the camera equipment is running on the network. So there's impacts to network. Well, like now,
Hmm.
like you don't have to get your IT vendor involved because I got my own network staff that can make sure that things are functioning properly. So it's a team. I think I'm right on the number. It's about 148 full-time employees today. That number
That's
changes
incredible.
pretty quick. We had a bunch of new hires in today. I love that. I was on vacation last week, and I even teams my VP of revenue Ben and said, Ben, man, I love seeing all these new hires. Like that is so exciting for me just to see people coming into the organization. And to me, like it's a blessing that they would choose to work here, right? A job is a choice,
Hmm.
right? And I think it's incredible that they've chosen to work here. And we got some incredible talent that works here that is way smarter than I am, right? When it comes to doing a lot of what they're doing, they're awesome at what they do. So that's kind of who we are today, man. I see a massive growth. Again, we just had a 50% growth year, which is insane, and still maintained profitability, which is awesome. So
Hmm.
the team did an incredible job, especially in July. My CFO Frank told me that this was going to be the first year we weren't going to have organic growth. We did process an acquisition this year.
Hmm.
What's up, Cole? Thank you, man. I appreciate you saying that because you're an incredible guy. This was going to be the first year we weren't going to have organic growth. And I think Frank was messing with me when he told me that because it's been 16 years in March. We've
Hmm.
never not done more revenue than we did the year before, ever,
That's
consistently.
awesome.
We are on pace this year for 44 million in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going awesome. We're privately held. We're not owned by private equity. We don't have any investors. We have a lot of good people that come to work every day, and we do what we say we're going to do. We're not perfect. We make a lot of mistakes all the time, and we know that. But I don't think you're ever going to find a more driven team to want to do good, from the top down. This is not a lifestyle business for me. I come here every day because I want to. It would be easy for me to sell out today and walk away. But I'm having fun. I enjoy the people I work with every day. I enjoy to see people creating careers here and watching them elevate their lives. That is so, look, man, I've made money, Steve, but watching other people create careers for themselves off of a perforated business card that I printed at Office Depot, like, that's cool as shit, man. Like
Is
that to
very
me
cool.
is what's cool. Like that to me is this is all about. And watching new people come in. Thank you, Clarissa. You're doing awesome as well. People coming in, man, and just watching them flourish. And it's just all, like I said, yes, it's stressful. But if we were going backwards, that's even more stressful.
Yeah, exactly.
Growth creates problems. And
yeah.
How do you maintain that level of service at scale, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
hard. And just when I think I got it figured out, we grow again. And it's like, it's a whole new set of challenges.
Exactly. I mean, that's the whole entrepreneur, world that you live in, is that you solve one challenge and you get to solve another one, right? It's kind of what
hard, man. Like Elon
it's what
Musk
they
says it
said
all
on
the
The
time.
Martian, right? The goal is to get home and you just get down and you solve a problem, and then you solve another one, and you solve another one. If you get to enough problems, then you get to go home.
It's the job, man.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's never finished. And I think that's the thing you have to learn to digest as an entrepreneur, is that to me, it's not just about my family. It's about everybody's family that's here, is just as important to me. And the decisions that I make impact them. And you have to be very conscious of that in the position that I'm in today. Because it's not just, me, Shannon, and the girls. It's a lot of other families that ride on this. And that's why I give them all every day, man, because I owe them that. I feel like I owe everybody here that comes in every day my hard work and dedication. Because if I don't give it my all, like, I got to work hard. I'm never going to expect them to work as hard as me, because I should be working 10 times harder. That's my job.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think some of this comes through, but I'm going to ask the question anyway, because I think it extends it farther. What do where you operate in a really competitive space and you're growing like crazy. So you've obviously found that chocolate and peanut butter mix of, what customers need and the right, solutions to bring to market. What's you guys' unique value prop that sets In-Telecom apart from all of the options that are in the market, and helps you, has been the secret sauce that's helped you kind of fuel this rocket ship that you're riding?
I think first and foremost, it starts with the client experience and making sure that we're paying attention to that. And even when it starts to deteriorate, getting back on track. I think being able to pivot is everything. This industry changes very fast. And I think a lot of people in the tech space get hung up and hone in on one thing, and they say, we got to do it this way. Jimmy and I have been very keen to pivot. And I've had people tell me, like, you can't pivot at that size. And I think that attributes to a lot of our success, is because we're willing to pivot. It's not one way. We're willing to create change. Look, we got some really smart people here that come from various backgrounds. Why would we not hear them out and have an understanding of how it should be done and how it could be done? I think that's crucial. I think even from our clients, is we're not afraid to take on things that they're looking for from a solution standpoint. And really, I tell people, which, look, this has created other challenges for us at scale. But you think about, I got this lady that'll come to your house and measure you and it'll make a suit for you. And I promise you, when you buy a suit from this lady, when you put it on, it's going to be the best fitting piece of clothing you own. Right. And there's a lot of, but I can go to JCPenney and still buy a suit that fits pretty nice. Right. And customize it. So we want to be that partner that customizes a solution for that organization. I've had people in the industry tell me, you got to go verticalize, you got to verticalize, and you got to go after one industry and stay focused in it. And we haven't done that. Again, man, I never really got caught up on what other companies are doing. I just been
Mhm.
real focused on what we're doing and what we do well. And we want to improve every day.
Mhm.
And anybody will tell you that works here, this can be an extremely hard place to work because of that,
Yeah.
because we want to be the best and we
Mhm.
demand the best. And
It's the
and
personal attention. Makes a huge
in
impact.
yes, and driving culture, man. Like we look, Steve, I'll be the first to admit I've created bad culture, man. I've done it. Just operating a business out of fear, um, demanding people to be better. And I had to learn, right?
Mhm.
I never had any experience in this, and I've had to fix culture. And I think it's about that too, man. You got to create a
Mhm.
culture of winning and, a culture of wanting to be better and really investing in your people. And I think that's crucial, man. And it's not just at work, it's at home. And how do you
Mhm.
make sure that your people are right at home? Because, in my opinion, we're all going to have those distractions that come into our personal lives, right? That's life in
Mhm.
general. But as a leader, it's my job to be a steward to help improve people's lives, not just at work. Because when stuff is good at home, work is good, man.
Yeah.
Works easy when stuff's good at home. Because to say, oh, you can't bring your personal shit to work, like they will, man. That's life, right? We all do, you know. So I think it's having a vested interest in your people, truly caring. I never forget I had a guy tell me one day that a company he worked for, consultants, and I've had people tell me this, that I can't have relationships with my employees, and I beg to differ because I
Mhm.
think that I would be a fool not to give a shit from the top to the very bottom and really care, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not
Yeah,
going to say that
absolutely.
it's not for everybody because it's not. I know that this place is not for everybody,
Mhm.
and that's okay. Like
Yeah.
I'm okay with that,
Mhm.
but I do care and I care a lot, you know.
And I think that extends out, right? If you take care as a leader, if you take care of your people, they're going to take care of your customers. And that
Yes,
to me is what has always set you guys apart from others that, I've worked with is
but we want to
you
give
can
back,
definitely
man.
feel the care, right? You can
Yes,
definitely feel the care that you guys put into from a outside the walls perspective to your suppliers, which you and I had that relationship when we first started, to
yes,
your customers. You can definitely see what makes In-Telecom different in the markets that you serve and how you guys are winning in those spaces. Now, you guys made an acquisition this year. You guys have expanded your footprint. Where is it that you really find yourselves? Where are you serving customers? Where's your playground?
the United States. uh, you know, we have clients in 40 states. We're not afraid to travel. We
Hmm.
travel all over, doing work for great organizations. Um, it if I tried to hone it in on one vertical, it's hard because you got government,
Hmm.
healthcare, big healthcare, large
Hmm.
clients, large universities. So it's been, I will tell you, Steve, something that's transitioning for the company today is like realizing that we can't service everybody,
Hmm.
and sometimes, um, and I never thought I would say this. So like there is a minimum in order for us to be able to offer the level of service that we want to be able to offer to a client, right?
Hmm.
We do see we fit better um, in multi-location, 50 plus user accounts. Not saying that we don't service some of the small clients because we do, you know.
Sure.
It's just hard to figure out like how do you continue to offer that level of service and today we will continue to strive to be good every day.
Hmm.
We'll have some churn, right? It's inevitable in this industry. We hate it. We've had people churn and come right back, and we want to we'll still be here, So I think if you look at who and where we're servicing, it's all over. Footprints we're covering today are Texas, Louisiana, but it's so hard to even say that, man. Like we just finished an install in California.
Yeah.
I don't. That's what's hard. Like
Yeah.
we'll put a guy on a plane tomorrow, and
Hmm.
um, and we will travel and we will support the client. And if you look at the reviews out there from the clients, even the ones out of state, we got a 5-star Google review.
That's awesome.
This is hard in this
That's
industry,
the
man.
that's the part that drives most marketing, is word of mouth. It's customer reference. And when somebody says, "Oh, I need a customer reference," for a lot of businesses, that's not the easiest thing in the world to get. And one of the things I've found with you guys is, you need a customer reference. Here, I got 5. I got 5 people that you can talk to that'll tell you
And they'll
exactly
tell you
why
the
they're
good, the
with
bad,
us.
and the ugly. They'll be honest with
Exactly.
you, and they're not going to just tell you it's all rainbows and butterflies. They're going to tell you that we're involved in me, Jimmy, leadership team, from the biggest client to the smallest client. And I think that attributes to a lot of the success of the company. And I think if you also look, Steve, we're always learning. Like, it's not one way, because this industry changes, man. Things that I would have told you 4 years ago, some don't even exist today.
Yeah.
And just because this backup solution is the one today doesn't mean that it's the one for tomorrow, because the landscape of the technology is constantly changing. The cyber, the attacks that are coming in are changing constantly. So if you think that you can land on one thing and that's going to be the go-to-market and what it's going to be, it's not, because we know in 4 years it'll be something different. And what does this world look like, and where does it go? And I think we're not afraid to create that change, and we're not afraid to look at what the market's doing and pay attention and follow, into what the needs are. And again, it all boils around, how is the client benefiting from what we're bringing to market? We don't want to sell every single product set. We're very cautious on who we choose for our vendors, because we know that it's a reflection of us. I can't blame a vendor and say, "Oh, well, it was them." No, we recommended them. So we're vetting the processes of what's there. And a lot of it boils around from, how do they operate their business? What is their mindset, right? What are their cyber policies that they're implementing in their organization to ensure that they're protected? Because we're just as vulnerable as any of our vendors, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's that process of doing that over and over and over again, as well as making sure that our vendors are a culture fit. I think that's really important in any business. Is this got to be you got to have a relationship, it's not always going to be good. Just like you gave me some really bad news at one point, right? And it's business. So, man, like,
Yeah.
I don't take it personal, some days I want to,
I think you probably wanted to that day that we had to have that
absolutely,
call.
some rough times during it. But look, man, I
That was
also
horrible.
believe that God puts things on me that prepares me for the next round of what's to come. And if you look at every single thing that's happened to me negative in my life, and I look at the positive outcomes that have come out of it, man, that's real,
That's awesome.
So I think that's really
So
important.
let me ask you to put your visionary hat on a bit. What's next for In-Telecom? What are the things that are kind of exciting you, in the short and longer term future, and that you are really, you kind of see the opportunity that you're going to be steering In-Telecom into?
So we're looking at another acquisition for this year that is going to bring on more clients in another market and more employees that I'm super excited about. I'm excited to tell you about this one at some point. I think you'll be super shocked too.
One day over virtual beers,
Yes, we'll
we'll
have to
have
talk
this
about that.
discussion.
I'm looking at the pure growth and where we're headed in the Texas market right now, and bringing our vision and culture over to Lantana and the Dallas market, and really getting that thing moving over there. We've got some really good sales leadership within the organization right now in all markets. So I'm super excited and watching where that's going. We just finally created our own in-house BDR team, and the BDR team is doing incredible things, and watching what Courtney's doing with that team and really getting them functioning as we build the sales organization out and really flowing and creating scale that way, as well as through the acquisition side. That's kind of where I see the business, and really honing in and focusing this year on executing on the strategy, right?
Hmm.
I don't want to overcomplicate it. I kind of want to do what we did last year because it worked,
Hmm.
and it's just going to work better this year because we got more leadership and more people. We're in a labor intensive business.
Hmm.
I'm super excited about the hiring market right now. We've been getting some incredible talent within the organization and just watching them come in. Like I said, I got to meet some new folks today, and it's just exciting. It's just a breath of fresh air when you watch them coming into the organization and what they're going to contribute. And they all have different backgrounds, and I think that's kind of where we are today. I think we're going to do a lot of what we already did. We are going to try to complete another acquisition this year. We want to do it strategically and be very cautious on who we bring in. Right? We're not looking
Hmm.
to do like a lot of these organizations do. I don't have any shareholders to appease. Right? My shareholders are the clients and the employees that work here. So that's who I report to. So we want to make sure we're diligent to them and make sure that they're able to continue what they have today. And I'm excited to watch what growth that offers to those folks from a career opportunity, right? I
Hmm.
look at just how things have shifted and where people have gone. And I think that's super exciting for this year for them to be able to
Awesome.
really evolve the organization, you know. Um, I kind of get to sit back
Exciting
and watch,
times.
man. You know, they kind of tell me what to do today. You know, um, they do such a good job. They really do.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I'm excited to. Um, I'm hoping I get this acquisition done, and I'm super excited to meet the employees and the clients and really give them a breath of fresh air into
Hmm.
the culture that we bring. That's super exciting and fun. I know it's scary for them. I'm sure the folks in Texas went through that, right? And we did have some attrition, natural attrition because of it. And
Hmm.
again, like I said before, man, this isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
If you've been working in a business that's been very static, like growth is hard and
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
of work, you know.
Hmm.
So there's that complexity. But look, man, we got really good people and we got some really good folks that came across with the acquisition. So watching that level of scale and getting to even ingest some of their knowledge into our
Hmm.
business is really cool, man. Lantana ran a very, very good business.
That's
And
awesome.
and and seeing the cultures merge is cool, man.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
I can see it just in you're grinning ear to ear. I mean, you can just see this. Sometimes you have discussions with people about business, and it's like, let me do this, or you kind of get the spin or whatever. You can dude, you're radiating. I mean, you can just
right.
see
It's
the
fun, man.
excitement
Look,
and the
man,
energy in this,
it's
right?
exciting, man.
Yeah.
It's super hard, but it's
Hmm.
it's it's exciting, and watching the vision come through and watching what we bring to the table as we bring new product sets to market this year. There's a lot of opportunity out there in the space.
Hmm.
Uh, Technology has kind of become a utility at this point into a
Yep.
business.
Yep.
It is very important that it's
Hmm.
stable, and I think we have a lot to offer. Um, and I would put our people next to any organization. There's a lot of good companies out there. And look, there's great companies. And I
Hmm.
think there's enough business for everybody.
Sure.
That's my true theory. I would never, there's a lot of great companies in our market. There's a lot of competition out there. I'm not really focused on it, man. I'm really focused on the client.
Yeah.
And if we just focus there, all the rest of the stuff works itself out, you know.
That's awesome.
If you look at what Jeff Bezos says that about Amazon, he never
Hmm.
got focused on competition. He got highly focused on the client. And you
Yep.
become obsessed with that, and that's what does it, man. And if I look at what created the success in this company, it is that right there.
That's
You
awesome.
know,
Well, Shawn, hey, I know I've already sucked up a lot of your time. I think we went probably 15 minutes over than what we had originally planned. I love chatting with you. Look forward to working with you guys. Thanks for joining and being a founding member in our launch of the Partner Exchange. We're really excited to work
super
with you
excited about
guys.
that, man. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
Some
I'm
new
really
stuff
excited to
that you
get
guys are
working with
bringing
you
to
guys. I
market.
think there's just nothing but opportunity working with you guys, and I think our customers are going to love working with you guys. So they'll be able to find you through the Partner Exchange by way of the Operator Connect marketplace. I really look forward to great things with you this year. Thank you again for joining me, And if anybody has any questions, they know where to find you on either the partner exchange, but how can people reach out to you if they have any
I'm heavy
questions?
on social, LinkedIn. If you have questions, you ever want to just learn or be vulnerable, don't hesitate to ask. There's never a bad question. I'll be at a bunch of conferences this year. So if you see me, don't be afraid to say hello. I've met a lot of people in the industry and I love helping them in their business. It's nothing that's a secret. So thank you, Courtney. And again, please reach out. Don't ever hesitate to reach out. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. So I'm here.
Awesome. Well,
Again, thank
we'll
you,
have to
Steve.
have
We
one
look
of those
forward to
virtual
it.
beers one of these days. And next time
Yes.
I'm down in Louisiana, I'll make sure to make a pit stop.
Yes, sir. Awesome. Thank you,
Awesome.
Steve.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Shawn.
y'all. Have a great day.
Thanks.